Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of A Piece of New York. Today, we're in Woodside, Queens, specifically the section known as Little Manila, and we've come to Dollar Hits. Now, Dollar Hits, this is the third location that they've opened here in the United States, the first one on the East Coast, and it was started by sisters Elvira, Nelita, and Josephine. Now, Elvira was the one that originally opened it, and she had a grocery store in Los Angeles. And what she started doing is she actually started selling some meat on the side of the grocery store. Unfortunately, the government came along and said, hey, you can't do that. You don't have a permit to do that. So what did she do? She opened up her own restaurant, which was Dollar Hits. Now, the reason that she named it Dollar Hits was because in the Philippines, when you have street food, the street food is for everybody, regardless of class. It's very affordable. So she wanted to do that same type of thing. So the skewers that she was selling originally only costed $1. Now, in recent years, they've raised the price in the Los Angeles location to $1.25. Here in New York City, because of the cost of living, the rent being a little bit higher, it's still only $1.50, which I believe is a tremendous value that you can have when you eat. And we are so grateful that they came to Queens, opened up this very affordable restaurant, and just really made food for everybody where they could come, feel comfortable. So we thank you so much. We're ready to go inside, check it out, and see what they're all about. First impression, I'm definitely really digging the vibe of this place. You walk in, you can see all the skewers that they have, and they have an assortment of like 20 different skewers that you can choose from. Me, kept it real simple today just because there were a number of other things that I did want to try here as well. They have everything from fish tofu, fish balls, lobster balls, even quail eggs. If you really want to get, true traditional Filipino food on a skewer, they definitely have that here for you. And then a bunch of delicious entrees as well, where they do have that. It almost looks like a buffet or type of like salad bar where they just have it all out there for you and you can see exactly what you want. Somebody from behind the counter will help you and get that for you. We got the most popular one, the caradeta. First, I'm gonna try my skewers. I'm gonna get real with it. I'm gonna try that pork here first. Here we go. Cheers. It's cooked or dipped in a sweet sauce, so there's a very sweet flavor to it. On top of that, this was a chewy piece of meat as well. There are slight burnt edges, so there's gonna be some crispiness when you do have it. So you have almost like a barbecue charred type flavor to go with the sweetness of the sauce that it was cooked in. It almost reminded me when you do get to, for instance, close to the ligament of a piece of beef, where it's so chewy that it could get tough. There was also that texture as well. I was surprised. I've never had that before, so it was enjoyable. Now let's go to that sweet sausage. Cheers. It may say sweet, but that was a smoky piece of meat. The smokiness of the flame that they cook it over was the dominating flavor. I enjoyed it. It was also the texture of it. When you bite into a piece of sausage and there's kind of like that, tough seal that goes around it, and then it's a lot more crumbly on the inside, or it falls apart. Not necessarily tender the way that a nice piece of tender is, but it's definitely like a softer inside. That's how that sausage was. So let's move on to, I believe the next one's going to be the barbecue pork skewer. Cheers. It wasn't barbecue pork. It was barbecue chicken. Sweet, delicious, tender. Hint of smokiness as well. A little bit charred on the outside, so there was a bit of crispiness to it. But overall, it was a nice tender piece of chicken. I enjoyed it. I mean, so far with these three skewers, they've been very delightful. I can understand why they have such a huge following, not just in Los Angeles, but also here in this community in Queens. So we're going to keep it moving with now the barbecue pork. Cheers. This one not as tender as the chicken, a little bit chewier, and also sweeter. It had like a bit of a sweet tang to it. With all four of those meats that I did have, there was a smokiness flavor. Some, such as the sweet sausage, had an overpowering flavor of smokiness. The other ones, less of a hint. The consistent texture that you are going to have is a little bit of crispiness on the outside, because I believe it is cooked over some type of open flame, if not a grill that's definitely charring the outsides. But if I just got those today and didn't order anything else, I'd be happy and I'd be fully satisfied. Moving on to that combo. First, let me try that rice. Fresh, soft rice. Has a bit of sponginess to it, bounciness to it. Was good. Enjoyed it as fresh rice should taste. Now we get the noodles. Here are the noodles. Cheers. Everything's been solid. Everything's been great. If I lived in this area, I'd definitely come here. This would probably be a regular spot that I would come to. Woodside, definitely blessed to have a place like this in the community because, man, skewers, the rice, the noodles, on point. Way to go, dollar hits. And now for that beef. Once again, tomato base with coconut milk. It might have a tomato base, but the coconut milk was really, I don't want to say it was the dominating flavor, but the coconut milk was definitely more dominant than the tomato. There was a sweetness to it in that beef. It was soft, it was chewy. It could be cooked a little bit more, maybe because it was sitting out. It wasn't as like a hot piece of beef, but it was still good. All of this though in a combo number one. This is the most famous plate that they do have. It's a solid plate. It has a ton of different flavors. You're gonna get delicious, soft, fresh rice, some amazing noodles, and then the beef is just the hint of tomato sweetness, the coconut milk. It's gonna hit that sweet tooth without indulging in some crazy dessert, because this is definitely a sweeter entree. Good stuff. So we have some bonus action coming at you with the desserts. We have a buco pandan, which is grass-based coconut jelly, maha bianca, which is a coconut corn-based dessert, and then some ube buco, which is rice and ube. First, let's try that ube bico. It's a lot firmer than I thought it was going to be. I will say that. I was expecting it almost to be just like some type of jelly I stick in, but man, make sure you have a solid spoon when you're digging into this. I gotta say, normally I'm not an ube guy, but I guess I'm getting more accustomed to it because the sweet delight was something that definitely was pleasing to my taste buds. The texture of it was hard. It was more firm than expected. That has to do with the rice. So it was a lot of chewing to break it down. Every single bite that you took into it was like it got sweeter and sweeter as you were eating it. So this was definitely something that I've never had before. It's enjoyable. I guess these guys are like Jay-Z, right? Just hit after hit after hit. Everything we're eating, just good, good, good. So here we go. Let's keep it rolling. I'm gonna try that Maha Bianca now. This one, not as firm, but with regards to a jelly, usually when I think of jelly, it's almost like a pudding jelly, right? Just kind of goes in. It's still a bit of more firm jelly here, and you can see there's corn on the bottom as well. Cheers. That was interesting. Interesting. I'm not used to having like corn desserts, right? So even though that you did have like the sweet, almost like a sweet coconut milk type flavor, just the extra juices that comes from the corn in this specific dessert was good. Man, and the texture as well, just a thick gelatin texture. I didn't know what to expect because I don't have authentic Filipino food often. And everything that I've had, I mean, from the thick gelatin dessert that they do have with the corn, the sweetness. Nothing is overpowering when it does come to flavors. It's like you get a ton of different flavors in one, but there's like hints of everything. So as you're taking a bite into it, you get the hint of coconut. Another bite, you get the hint of corn. You get different textures with the corn, with the jelly. So overall, I mean, I have to say, with these two desserts, I'm impressed. If you are looking for something that's not really as hard, because having that ube bico was a little bit tougher. The jelly will definitely satisfy that sweet tooth. And then lastly, the buco pandan, something that I was very interested in. This is another jelly-based or gelatin-based dessert with coconut and grass being the main two ingredients. I thought it would be, and I was right. This is my favorite dessert. It was interesting because with the coconut, that really was the dominant flavor, but the grass as well. The grass almost added like, it felt like you were eating a healthy dessert. Like I feel like if I could go into Jamba Juice, if y'all remember Jamba Juices from a while back, they're not as plentiful as they used to be, but this almost is something that's like a healthy dessert that you're eating. I definitely like this a lot. The creaminess of the Jello as well. with all the different textures that I had, the ube being the toughest, the Mahabiko or Bianca being a little bit more, being a little bit less firm, more of a firm jelly. And then with this one, this is definitely, of the three desserts, this is, I would have to say, the softest texture wise. Very good, delicious. It just tastes fresh. So they definitely everything that they have here was of good quality. They have the endorsement of a Pizza New York here at Dollar Hits. Well, folks, that concludes our day here in Woodside, and I have to say, I'm very satisfied with the lunch that I had, from the skewers to the entree. It was fantastic, and on top of that, it was affordable. So Josephine, Elvira, and Nelita, thank you so much for coming to Queens and bringing great affordable food that you can come and sit down and be fully satisfied. Now, when it came to that food, I have to say I was delightfully surprised with the pork ears, the chewiness, the tenderness, and then the sweetness that it did come with. Absolutely 2 thumbs up. Also that sweet sausage, more smokiness than sweet, but still very pleasant nonetheless. And then also with those 2 main staples, the barbecue pork and the barbecue chicken, you don't want to skip out on those. The one flavor that you are going to notice throughout is that smokiness that does come. The smokiness is a little bit more powerful on some of them than the others, but it was just you can see from the smile on my face that I am satisfied. It was a great lunch. So once again, thank you. And from everyone over to Pizza New York, we just want to say, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you enjoyed the content, give us a subscribe. Hope you have a great day and a better week. Take it easy, y'all. Bye.